Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, I'm your host, Mr. Rourke, and this is Randall Armstrong. You've seen him on the internet, on Facebook. You've seen him on the news, trying to get away from that giant Category 17 hurricane in Tampa Bay, Florida. Anyway, I'm dressed like this to talk about the Fantastic Four, and who's better than Randall?
Voltron.
Okay, so Randall, let's give everybody a little context. I'm always like super enthusiastic about stuff, and I'm like, "Hey, my God, I got this cool Cylon thing, everybody!" And expect people to care for 20 minutes without any kind of context. So let me give the folks context about who you are and how I know you and why we're here.
Yeah.
One day, I don't know, I don't even remember. It must have been like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, a long time ago. It was before the coronavirus.
Oh yeah, way before.
I'm pretty sure. I was just sitting around at midnight, looking at my phone, Mimi's snoring away next to the bed, and I'm scrolling through my thing. And we've been Facebook pals because comic books, right? Everybody who likes comics in America,
mutuals,
Facebook friends of each other. And so your thing came up, and it was like I think it was 2 or 3 in the morning your time, and you were just like, "I finished my Marvel stuff, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that," and I'm like, "Man, this guy's my friend." And I mean, the kind of guy I would be friends with, you know. And you were just talking about cool shit, and I was posting along to you live, and it was just you and me, and I was like, "Wow, it's like hanging out with a guy I didn't know I was friends with already."
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And
that's what I love about the social media and the internet now. Like it's much easier to connect with people and just have friends everywhere.
Right, absolutely. I would never have met you without it because we're on opposite coasts, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I'm 70 to 80 years older than you, so like, we wouldn't be. Maybe if you were working at a store I shopped at, but there'd be like no way we would like run into each other anyway. So
maybe at Disney World or something.
yeah, something like that, maybe. But I mean, I wouldn't have spent enough time with you that I went, there's a guy who like give a shit about what he says about things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now, like, so many years have gone by. I give you crap, and I give your friends crap. We should say this. I was telling Randall in the green room before we started that I was like, I apologize, but I was raised an older brother, and so I just shit on my friends. It's just a thing you do, and Randall could take it, and so I was like, I apologize for that, but I mean it from like a warm place and not a jerky place. And you said
that, and I said that. Yeah, I'm the baby of the family. I have an older brother, so I'm kind of used to getting kind of like, I don't want to say. I mean, I don't want to say dumped on, but like I keep Go
ahead. I mean, that's kind of what it is, but older. So I love that because you totally got it right away, even if it was subconscious. You're just like, oh well, this guy, he wouldn't bother with me if I, if well, I mean, he didn't like me, so obviously he's like me. He's just give me a hard time.
And yeah. I mean, we've had numerous conversations to the point where I'm like, oh, I know, you're a good guy, and like, and what's funny is
mostly.
What's funny is everybody has like this internal dialogue in their head. So when you're talking to somebody on the internet and you don't know this person and you're reading what the other person is writing, perfect example is Key and Peele. They did a skit that I just thought brilliant, perfect. That's a perfect example of like, you have one guy who's upset and then the other guy doesn't realize the other guy's upset and he's just responding, but the guy's taking it the wrong way, and it's because it's all that internal dialogue, so it's like it's the POV, and it's very hard to do that via text, especially with strangers. Like if you know the person, like the other day, me and Marco, we were in an argument, and I was just like, hey man, like, we're going in circles, so like the argument's over. I'm done, and then like it led to like, oh, so what? We're not gonna be friends anymore. and I'm like, you know what, Marco? Whatever you want to do, buddy. Whatever you want to do.
I thought you were gonna go the other way with that. That you've known him for so long that like.
No, but it's that friendship where like friends get upset. And then there's like, oh, friendship's over. But then the next day, it's like George Costanza when he's like, oh, I quit, and then he shows up back to work the next day as if nothing happened. It's like it's one of those instances, where like, we're such good friends that I know that in the heat of the moment, 50% of the stuff that we're saying, we don't mean it, because we're just upset in that moment. So that's just an example. Like, I love Marco, he's my brother. We're gonna have ups and downs, but at the end of the day, we're gonna, we're still gonna be friends and we're gonna get through it. So that's just an example.
Yeah, that's funny you brought up George Costanza, because Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm is that's George is basically based on him, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's this great scene in Curb Your Enthusiasm where he's having a crazy fight with, I think it's Richard Lewis, I'm not sure exactly, but he's having this crazy fight, and he gets to the door and he's gonna slam the door and he goes, "And fuck you, and I'll see you tomorrow."
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, that's what it is with me and all my friends. It's like you're having a fight, but that doesn't mean you're not friends. It just means you just don't agree with this thing. And
exactly. Yeah.
That's the thing.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I do kind of see like me and Marco going that route when we get older. If we become like grumpy old men, like, all right, I'll see you for lunch tomorrow.
Right, exactly. I think that's kind of just being an adult, man. Like little kids will have, epic
I think
blood feuds, but adults are just like, I got to get this out.
I think it's a combination of like, don't take it personal, don't be offended, and I always just try to put myself in the mindset of the other person, because I used to get super angry on the internet. I used to random arguments with strangers, and then I kind of just took a step back and said, why am I angry? Okay, this is what's making me angry. Why is it making me angry? Like, what did this person say? And then, when you start, realizing like, a complete stranger who doesn't really matter to you, like they're nobody. There's no value in your life with this individual. So why is this person making you so upset? So it's a constant reminder of like, hey, don't let what somebody says to you upset you. Yeah.
I gotta change that back. I just thought it was funny. Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing, that that people will treat people like that. It's like, well, I never know who this person is, and so fuck you, see you tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, man, like that guy's from England or something and is not using this American phrase the way you understand it. And so this giant misunderstanding between the two of you is hilarious to the rest of the planet, because we see that you're not,
because we understand
about the same thing. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we see the miscommunication, so we know what's going on. It's waiting to see the two people figure it out, and then watching it unfold.
I have gray in my temples, just like,
I always wanted to do that. I actually, my senior year, I thought about in prom just dyeing the sides of my hair white.
That's awesome.
I was like wearing like a tux, and I wanted to go for that, like technically like the older Bruce Wayne when he had like the gray on the sides.
Yeah. Just anybody. The gray on the temples is very distinguished, right? Hal Jordan. That's what they do. Oh, here's Hector. Hector's here. Did you hear about the bear poking? Did I hear about bear poking?
Bear poking.
Yeah, I mean, don't poke the bear kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he's talking about. No, I like to play up that, like, dude, here's the thing for Hector. Thanks for showing up, Hector. I mean, you're awesome. But remember the angry girlfriend thing that we did? I actually asked Randall, like, hey, man.
Yeah.
Because hypothetically, if somebody's going to do something like this, what do you think? What do you think about it? And I really appreciate it. You spent like an hour on the phone telling me like the comic book retailer perspective. I didn't want to talk to an owner, because you get a different answer. I wanted to talk to somebody who's both boots are on the ground, like you.
Yeah. I mean, like I that's one of my favorite things about the job too, is like I do enjoy talking with people. So like I'm always, getting feedback from customers, and just from my point of view, like I still, like, I'm working with a guy right now at Plant City Comic Cafe. He's the owner, and is it Bush?
Yeah, he meant to say buh, but that's just funnier. Anyway, Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No,
that's
no, it's okay. Yeah, yeah.
how I interact.
My thing is like with my experience, I like to inform, and so like I try to tell them, like, hey, if we do this, do things this way, if we do this, we do that, we'll increase sales, we'll do this, we'll do that.
Yeah.
And and sometimes, like at the end of the day, it's their business. So when they're like, well, maybe we'll do it later, I don't want to do it right now. So it's one of those things like, okay, it can be the only time it's frustrating for me is if I hear like, hey, we need to make more money,
Yeah. I mean,
and it's like, I already
right.
told you what we could be
Thanks.
doing. Yeah,
Right. I agree. Maybe you could listen to me. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. The thing that I admire about you though is that a retail job is kind of difficult just from the dealing with a public standpoint. But
yeah,
then you make at a specialty shop, and then because this works for crystals and candles and you know horse saddles and everything.
yeah,
But comic books is a very, very specific audience that you're trying to make happy, and you can't. Like people are going to be mad about something at all times. It's not going to be the same guy. It
yeah,
might
yeah,
be, it might be, but like it's rare that going to the comic store is it's an adventure, man. It's like a county fair, right? Every
it
day,
is.
like so. If you come in there and like just want to grab something, that's fine too. But if you want to go in there with a couple of buddies and like have a blast, and that's your area from
It's
the
cheers,
crazy
man.
world, yeah,
It's cheers. Like I hope one day when I have the money, I want to make a comic book store very similar in the way the style Cheers is made. Like I'm gonna have like the bar area in the middle. I might even have like a frame of like Ted Danson hanging on like the wall or something like that.
oh man,
And or even
yeah,
like make a hybrid. It could be a bar slash comic book store. But like that's how I look at it. It's like because we have subscribers and I take care of customers, I start learning their names. So essentially, almost everyone is like Norm to me. They come in and it's like, hey, how's it going, man? And then
yeah,
we chat about comics. They're buying books, so I'll ask them, hey, how are you liking this comic series?
yeah,
Or and the beautiful thing about the comic book industry is that they're always coming out with new comics. So I'll pull out the catalog. I'll point out like new books that are coming out. I'm big on following talent. I'm big on following writers and artists. So if I see a writer and artist team that are working together, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great book. Like
yeah,
I don't have to read it. Like I already know it's going to be good. So like for perfect example, Batman Hush Part 2, Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee, reuniting, teaming up. And they're even going as far as making 1 in 1,000 ratio variants for this return,
yeah.
which is they don't do 1 in 1,000 ratio variants often. So it's just one of those, like, it's an incentive for you to order more, but it's perfect because it's going to be such a great jumping on point for a lot of people.
Yeah. I'm super looking forward to this because my kid is like totally down. He's actually reading the first rush. I mean, Hush now,
Oh yeah,
and because
Jim Lee at his best, man.
yeah, because he's looking forward to it because he's been following the stuff where people are like, uh, kind of going, "Why does this exist?" And I just don't get that at all. And
Yeah, yeah,
he asked me, I'm like, man, because people are crazy. Like it's like literally saying Harrison Ford wants to shoot a 10-minute skit with you.
yeah.
It's like,
What?
I don't know. Really? But it's like fucking Jim Lee runs DC Comics
Yeah,
and is going to do a monthly Batman book.
for
That's
six
two
for six
jobs.
months.
Yeah,
For
that's
6 months.
two
Yeah.
jobs, man. He has a
Oh, it
regular
is.
job,
Oh,
and
it
then
is.
he's doing a page a day at night. Like, why don't we just see what Jim does before we say if it's a good idea or not, right?
Oh
Because
yeah,
that
yeah.
guy's amazing.
Well, it makes me wonder, like, how long did they know in advance that they were going to do Batman Hush 2? Because I met Jeff Loeb for the first time last year at MegaCon,
Mhm.
and he didn't say anything, which I'm sure, like, of course he doesn't want to say anything because it's like it's going to
Oh,
be a
right,
big surprise. Like, I'm not going to, but every
right.
now and then, sometimes, writers and artists will let things slip, and be like, oh, I'm working on this, I'm working on that. But like, I loved him when he was at DC, him and Ed McGuinness when they were on Superman.
Oh man,
Uh,
Ed McGuinness. There's a name.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love his
waiting for.
art.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping after Batman Hush, they'll announce that Jeff Loeb will be back on a Superman title, and it'll be with And it doesn't even have to be ongoing. If you want to just give me a mini series, it's like 6 issue or maxi series, 12 issues, I'll be happy with that.
That totally works. All right, but the reason we're here is the FF,
The reason.
right?
Yes.
So that brings us back, right? Because one of the best things about being a comic book fan is now all the movies are giving us those yayas, right? So it's like I'm actually looking forward to this new phase, the X-Men FF phase of the MCU, because I'm sure that there's going to be stuff that follows the comics. Like, but on the other hand, like this trailer has Herbie in it, like right away.
I love Herbie.
Like, but so you know the thing about Herbie, right, is that he exists because they had sold the rights to the Human Torch by himself. Like somebody, so when they did the FF cartoon, it had to be the Fantastic Four, but they didn't want to do anything crazy, so they gave him a cute little cartoon robot. Yeah, and you know, I was like 20, I think 21, and I was like, cute little cartoon robot. Who gives a shit? But like over the years, like Byrne put him in the FF, and he got kind of legit. And as I grew up, I kind of liked it. So man, seeing that in there, and
I could have sworn like the rumor was, I remember hearing a rumor that the reason they didn't want to do Human Torch was because they were afraid kids were going to light themselves on fire.
Oh, so, yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm sure that works for no, of course. I mean, I'm sure that was even part of it. Yeah. But like that just smells more like a marketing story, because nobody wants to go, oh, there's a trade route dispute, you know, which is what contracts are. So you come up with a cool thing and like, it's for the children, and everybody goes, okay, ding ring, do your thing, you know. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah,
cartoons, whatever. But oh my god, the uniforms. Like when Star Trek Discovery was being tossed about, I'm like, I don't care about anything as long as they get the uniforms right, and they did not. No. And so you've seen pics of my stuff on the internet. I've loved the FF for like my entire life.
Oh, like, yeah.
I started reading Sub 100 when John Buscema was drawing it. So whatever, or maybe it's like in the 130s. I don't really remember. I was in 5th grade, and I remember that I had known who the FF were, but I didn't really read their monthly book. And so this was when Ben was, he got bamfed back to human form. And like, Crystal and Power Man were the strong guys, and that's why I love She-Hulk later, because like when I was in 5th grade, that's what happens, man. Something's gonna happen to your strong guy. Yeah, and so then She-Hulk walking around in a FF uniform. Come on, that's awesome.
Oh, I mean, what's funny is green's like my favorite color. So like I was instantly drawn to She-Hulk. I was like, ooh, she's green and she's beautiful. Same thing with Jade in the DC comics with Green Lantern. So I was just
this is going out into the world. You might not want to talk about all of your kinky habits there.
yeah.
But I'm saying my into the FF wasn't. I didn't even care. I knew I was going to love the movie because I love all the dumb movies. Like the stupid Korma one's probably my favorite, and everybody's like,
to watch that one.
Everybody's like, oh, it's the biggest piece of shit. And I'm like, first of all, best thing suit ever, and most accurate Doctor Doom ever. And once you start there, it's like that dopey little movie that cost 10 cents to make is actually better than the studio versions that we got. And so I kind of like, you know, I watched them, but and honestly, my kid and I have a great thing with the Trank one, because he was young enough that he was still doing camps in the summertime.
Yeah.
And we were trying to find one they had in Golden Gate Park, but they had locked it off for some hippie thing, and I couldn't find where to get into, and I was starting to get really frustrated, which is not a good look on a father, you know.
Yeah.
So I just turned to my kid and I go, how like, man, I gotta look up how young he was, but he was like probably 8 or 9 or so. So he was old enough to make this decision. I'm like, hey man, are you really invested in going to this treehouse trek thing or whatever it was called?
Yeah.
Or there's a Fantastic Four movie out. You want to just go do that? And I'll never forget this. He just looked at me. He goes, Fantastic Four, please.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. So I just like drove to the movie theater and we watched it, and he loved it because he felt like he was playing hooky, right? He wasn't doing the thing he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And so I've probably seen that movie like 5 or 6 times, because every once in a while he'll go, hey, put on that dumb thing with the Fantastic Four and the giant lights, and he doesn't say the that they're the Fantastic Four.
Is this the Tim Story?
Yeah, Josh Trank. That's he follows the director.
Oh,
So,
the Josh Trank one. Oh
yeah,
boy.
not the Tim Story ones. That's what makes that story so funny, right? Like,
Yeah.
how have I seen that movie 5 times? It's not that good, but I love it because it means something in our family, right?
Oh, totally, yeah.
So I'm hoping that this is because I told him last night. I'm like, dude, they're putting this trailer out at 4 a.m, and ordinarily I would just wake up anyway and watch it on my phone, but I won't because you and me can watch it first thing in the morning. And he's like, all right. And so I get up early because I'm an old man, and so he wakes up at his regular time, Daddy, from his bedroom. I'm like, hey, good morning, buddy. He's like, can you set up the FF trailer? He's like not even awake yet.
Yeah.
And he knows I'm in the living room. So I think the Fantastic Four like means something to me and him about having fun. So
That's great.
I think that's what comic books does to people, right?
Yeah,
It's a shared experience that is something that just happens in your head. Like, even if you and me were reading the same comic book at the same time, sitting in the same room, we would get different things out of it and talk for an hour about it afterwards, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's the appeal of comics to me. And then comic-based movies. So tell me, well, you've seen this trailer a few times, right?
Yes, I have.
Tell me what you think. And don't go, eh. Yeah, it's one of those Marvel movies. See, that's why I make fun of you, because you're so young. You grew up in a world where there were Marvel movies, and I'm like,
well, I mean, kind of. I mean, there was the Italian Red Skull Captain America movie when I was a kid. That was out, but yeah, I mean, like the MCU as we know it. No, I mean, the great thing is, and I'll never forget it, the very first Spider-Man movie came out the year I graduated high school. In fact, like here I am just excited for graduation. We're done. And as soon as graduation's done, I'm like, boom, Spider-Man's out, So I go and I see Spider-Man. I remember telling my buddy, like, hey man, I think Spider-Man, because this is when Clone Wars was coming out. And I was like, dude, Spider-Man is going to be so huge, it's going to do better than Star Wars. And he looked me dead in the eyes, and he's like, better than Star Wars? You're crazy. And it box office wise, it did better than Star Wars.
That's
but yeah. So with Fantastic Four, I've seen every MCU film in movie theaters opening weekend. Even when I had health issues, I was worried I was going to miss Ant-Man 3. I still was like, because they were going to schedule surgery on my neck, and then but then they were like, oh, we're going to go ahead and push the schedule to push your surgery like a couple weeks. So I was like, oh, perfect. So I was like looking at the calendar, and I was like, oh, I can make it to Ant-Man.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I mean,
but that's true. Like, that's what it means to people.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Hey, read this.
Like, oh yeah, it is Marco. Yeah.
But Randall's so wrong. I like that.
I sometimes think that he loves you, like Marco loves you so much, Larry, that I feel like even if he knows I'm in the right, he's like, I'm siding with Larry.
Disagree.
I'm siding with Larry.
Well, that's awesome. I have no notes. Yes, that's what you should do. Agree with me, even if I'm wrong.
But no.
So what's your favorite thing in the trailer? We've been talking for 20 minutes like old buddy. Let's talk about the movie.
Yeah. Favorite thing in the trailer. I mean,
I mean, I heard you said you don't like Vanessa Kirby's American accent. Was that you?
No, it's not her accent. She's a fantastic actress. I've always been big on casting, and I look at her and I know she's a good actress. But she's not who I picture, who I envision as Sue. I feel like Sue, and like maybe this is why people think Vanessa is such a good actress, is because when you look at her face, she has a very, very serious, dramatic looking face. Okay. And sometimes I think she's so serious in her look, in her face, that she comes off as both strong but cold, And I feel like Sue is supposed to be more inviting, warm, welcoming, and she's strong as well too. But I'm just saying, like, looks wise, when I look at Sue, she's like, You know, she's your underdog. You know,
I
she's more powerful than you know, and that's where she's going to surprise you.
I
So
totally love this about how people like you're bringing your whole thing to it because I look at that and she's a classy sort of European fashion plate, but she's a mom,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so there's, I guess it's because like she's supposed to be a 1950s housewife with fucking serious powers, right?
yeah,
And that just screams like because I mean if you get a blonde haired actress, that's three quarters of it, right? Okay, that looks enough like Sue. To the point they
yeah.
get Jessica Alba on it and dye her hair, and the only
Oh,
person who says anything out loud is John Byrne, saying she
yeah, yeah.
looks like well, you know.
Well,
I th-
and it's funny you bring up Jessica Alba, and as much as I didn't like the casting of her, the only reason I felt like it worked was because when you see her and the other actors on screen together, they have real chemistry. I can see it, you
yeah,
know, and I think that's what sold me on enjoying those Fantastic Four films. I mean, the heart of those movies, in my opinion, was Michael Chiklis, just
yeah,
because
absolutely.
he just embodied that voice, and he was like, "Hey, Reed, you know, it's Auburn time." You know, like I was just like, I loved it. It just sucks that he had to wear this suit, and the only reason he had to wear that suit was because of all the backlash of the CGI Hulk from Ang Lee's Hulk.
Oh yeah.
You know, so we didn't. They decided not to do a CGI thing, which probably would have helped it. You know, but
I kind
I
of
still like.
like this suit because that's who Ben is, right? He's a
Yeah,
guy in a rock suit. And
yeah.
so if you have to do that in real life, that probably helps the actor, right? You can't really feel
Oh,
things.
it helps a lot.
You're situated away from the other guys.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing I like most about this in the trailer though, and I forget the actor's name. Evan, three names. The guy from The Bear. Cousin. He's
Oh
so
yeah,
good.
yeah. Ebon
Ebon,
something.
he's so good. He's so
Yeah.
good in Daredevil.
Oh
I
yeah.
that's an embarrassment. I can't remember his name because he's an excellent actor. But they moved his eyes over because that's the only thing I didn't like about Chickless. And then whoever played the thing in the Corman thing, there's really nothing you can do to get the proportions right on a
Right.
human because you have to have him in a mask, right? So the eyes are always going to look too close together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they just did that and they moved his eyes over and they gave him that little square plug nose that John Byrne does and the big brow that
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
John Buscema, Joe Sinnott
I,
inking thing. It's
I,
just
I
perfect.
will I will say with this movie, this is the best um, physically looking version of the Thing.
I love everything about it.
Yeah.
So did you catch the thing I wrote about the uniforms? Because everybody knows I like the costumes, I like the cosplay, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
19 Star Trek things. So I got to the point Dan Shaheen used to call me Starfleet Haberdasher or something, the quartermaster issuing the uniforms because I have them all.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Measuring the inches. Like, nope.
yeah, so I have opinions and I just love what they did. And every little note that fanboys say, it's just like, what are you talking about? Like that's not the right blue. It's like there's thousands of blues.
Yeah.
That's a blue. Let's just fucking go, you know, like well, I like the CG on the thing and his face looks correct and it's like John Byrne, except he's speaking, he's not very articulate. His lips aren't moving right. I'm like, his lips are made out of fucking rocks. What do you
Yeah, yeah,
think
yeah.
a guy talking about rocks is gonna anyway? I
I mean,
just think
I think the biggest complaint people will probably have is just Ebon's voice as the Thing. And like I get it, you know, every time Marvel makes a new version of these characters and movies, they're like, well, we have to make this different somehow, you know? And so like, you
I'm
know,
tell me why that's a thing though, because I don't understand that criticism whatsoever. Just the thing has to sound rocky. Like,
oh no, no. So some people say that like the gravel and stuff like that.
yeah,
That's not my thing. My thing is like of all the people who did the voices, it was like Michael Chiklis. Um, you know, um, he just like a thicker accent. You know, he had like a thicker accent than the Yancey, you know, the New York, you know, hey, you know, I'm the ever blue eyed loving thing, you know, my Aunt Petunia, you know, like, you know,
you don't think he's going to be saying all that?
we just saw him talking in the trailer and
Yeah. So
he's
what's
probably
wrong? Because he sounds
he
like
said
a Jewish guy from New York.
sure, sure, but like, I think he just sounds more like maybe the character that he plays on the Bear than he does
It's
trying to be
his
Ben Grimm.
speaking voice. So try to get me with this, right?
Yeah.
Ben is like Reed's best friend.
Yeah.
He's a dude. He sounds like a guy who talks,
Yeah.
right? And then something happens and he turns into a big rocky guy.
Yeah.
But he can lick his fingers and taste spaghetti sauce and know it needs more garlic. So
Right.
obviously inside he's a dude.
Yeah.
Why do you think that he's going to sound like, fucking Sam Elliott drinking whiskey? He's just not. He's going to sound like a Jewish guy from Brooklyn. And
Yeah.
that guy's a Jewish guy from Brooklyn. I mean, what do you want?
Oh no, I know, but I mean, like, there's always been, like, if you watch the
I know, but I'm gonna make you a shirt. Oh, I know,
but I think that the thing that people are familiar with, like, you go back and, like, you were talking the cartoons, like when you hear how he talks, there's just a certain way that he talks, and like if Michael Chiklis can do it, Ebon can do it, and I don't think Ebon's really hitting it, but I don't think that's
why would you do it though?
Huh?
Why would you do it? Like Simon
Because
Pegg's
that's
not
like
doing
like, what do you call it? That's the quintessential, like, that's one of the biggest things about the thing is his personality and how he talks.
His voice? It's
it's huge, man. That's
huge. A comic book. What's his voice sound like?
Can you imagine if they did that with Shaggy? If Shaggy just all of a sudden started talking
Shaggy's
slightly
not a
different.
comic book. Shaggy's Casey Kasem. So you have to do a Casey Kasem voice, right? The thing is a comic book character.
Right.
Like, talking about his voice being off is unacceptable. Like, because all we know is he was a Brooklyn guy. So maybe they played it up in the 60s in print because he's a Brooklyn guy from 1941 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
He met Reed and Nick Fury and Logan and stuff in World War II. So I get it in the comics, but after a while, they're just like, John Byrne is drawn. He had a Jewish girlfriend. He's got the menorah out. There's a whole Frank Miller thing with him with the stuff on. He's a Jewish guy from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So's even. Next. Talk about the Fantastic Car.
The car looks good. A lot of the things physically looks good in the film. Even the whole 60s setting, like, that doesn't bother me. Is it what I want? No, but these are things that, like, I'm cool with.
What do you want? It's got Galactus.
I want a better cast.
See, that's just awful. No, don't do that yet. Like, after you see the movie 4 times. That's my old buddy Rick Austin and I. We gave that rule to ourselves back in the old days.
Yeah.
Because I went to go see. Both of us went to go see the Star Trek: The Motion Picture 4 times before we realized, yeah, it's a little slow, isn't it? We had like so much fun, and we had waited so long for this, which is in our little world was like 10 years.
And I was the same way. I was the same way with Superman Returns.
Yeah.
I went and saw it like 4 or 5 times, and then ultimately, like, the more I talked with people and the more I looked at it from another perspective, I was like, there are parts of this movie that are slow.
All right, great. Well, so the opposite is going to happen with you in the FF, and I'm gonna come out of the theater and text you like, have you seen it yet? Have you seen it yet? And then you'll finally go, yeah, man, I saw it. It was pretty good.
Here's the real issue for me. The real issue for me is that I'm going to go in there. I'm going to watch the movie. I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm going to this is how messed up the MCU is right now for me. You make these movies.
Wait a second. You have to give me a second to sit with that sentence for a second. This is how messed up the MCU is to me. Like, dude, the entire world agrees on the top 10 movies and the bottom 10 movies.
Yeah.
In the middle, everybody's got their own idea. How is that messed up? That just seems to me like a successful thing.
I'll explain. What's messed up is you make one good movie after another, right? And you keep raising the bar, right? And so once you reach the bar to a certain level, then the rest, a chunk of the audience, I don't want to say majority because, like, I don't really necessarily have the numbers and, research and all that stuff to say specifically. But I feel like just based on, especially now that we're getting more people complaining about the Batfleck
Hector was like, Ben Affleck, fuck you. And then the movie comes out. He's like, wow, that's a pretty good Batman.
Yeah.
Like, I give him shit all the time. But he
Oh
takes
yeah.
it. He's like, yeah, man. He
Oh,
learned a lesson. So this movie's going to teach you the Hector Gonzalez lesson.
no,
No, I don't learn lessons.
no. This is back to what I'm saying, right? Like you've raised the bar. Since you've raised the bar, like when I think of MCU films now, right?
Okay.
And like the quintessential moments that a lot of people will talk about are usually the Avengers films, specifically the ones directed by the Russo brothers. And so when you deliver Infinity War and you deliver Endgame, right? Now it feels like I think everybody after those movies have come out, everybody's like every movie has to be like Endgame, which we know not going to happen. And
well,
so
how can it? That's not the function, right? Like the reason everybody thinks those are amazing is because they watched the 18 movies before it.
Right, the build up to it. The build up to it.
Perfect capstone on it.
And I think
they're saying this book is great because I read the last 2 chapters. Well,
right.
It's because it's the end of the story. And now they're starting another story. The X-Men. Yeah. They're going to call it Phase 6 or whatever, but this is FF X-Men time now.
And yeah, but it's
Flight. Kevin Feige, Alpha Flight.
Oh God, I'd love an Alpha Flight movie, man. And I would love it if Wolverine was part of the Alpha Flight team.
That's what first. I mean. You have a reason to bring Alpha Flight in now.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows who the X-Men are. You don't have to worry about that anyway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude.
All right, go back to it. This is like having a conversation with me. I like pickles. Shut up. We're talking about the FF. Anyway.
So for me, like I said, it's like the steps, like, you know, each movie is getting better and better and better, you know? And so, and then the other thing too is like, you know, you had showrunners for each phase, except for Phase 4. You didn't have a showrunner for Phase 4.
Wait, a showrunner for the movie?
It's a terminology that, you know, me and my friends.
Yeah, but it's not a show. I'm trying to figure out who you're talking about.
Right, basically someone overlooking the whole entire phase. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. So like Jon Favreau essentially was kind of like overlooking the helping with him and Feige together, overlooking Phase 1 of, you know, it was all leading to Avengers.
Yeah.
Then Joss Whedon, who directed Avengers, kind of took over and was like, hey, this is where we're gonna go. And then when Phase 3 came along, Whedon was out, the Russo brothers were in, you know, so it was essentially just, you know, I'm sure Feige is the glue. He is the glue. He is the guy who's like talking to all the directors. But at the end of the day, yeah. So Phase 4 was originally supposed to be kind of overlooked by James Gunn, but then he got fired. And so Feige just was like, maybe we won't need a showrunner. You know, we're you know, like right now, let's just get the movies made. Let's get the directors. Let's introduce more of these characters. Let's move it into the multiverse and kind of go from there. I think at the time too, Kevin Feige's priority also was the TV shows. And so when you're doing the TV shows and you're doing the movies, I just think like maybe there was just too much on Feige's plate, in my opinion. And that's why some people maybe saw a dip in the quality that they so much want, you know. And
you don't think that was all from the coronavirus and the inability to produce stuff?
Oh no, I mean, other factors, of course, played a huge factor in it. I mean, a coronavirus to me, all that does is you're delaying, you know, you're delaying the work, you're delaying the release, you know. So like it's the momentum.
But but I mean, you can't produce it, so there's no work to release, right?
Well, they released the TV shows, you know, so the TV shows were coming out during the coronavirus, and then the movies I think got pushed back like 6 to 8 months. So it wasn't that far of a push, you know. But
you know how movies are made. Where's Marco? Like, there's just no. I don't know. That's cool. Well, I'm not going to argue that much because I don't really get what you're saying. Like Feige's not the showrunner. Feige's the showrunner. And so when the strikes happened, he knew all that happened. Boy, that was a mess, but that was all because we couldn't produce stuff. But then he was like, then he just redid the whole thing. He got into his little super land yacht and sat there and just redid the whole thing and then went, okay, but what about this?
Feige, but he's not a writer. He's not a writer. He's not like, you know, behind the camera saying, you know, action. Oh, this is what I want to see. He'll give his input because he knows what he likes and he knows what, like, he understands the characters.
You were like, the TV shows are still coming out. It's because they have them. They were done already, mostly, except for the visual effects that you can do at your kitchen table, right?
Well, not all the TV shows were done. Not all of them. Maybe like 3 of them.
What did they produce during the coronavirus? Like
The
that
first show that
year?
released was WandaVision.
No, I mean,
What did they produce
during the coronavirus? They didn't do
Hawkeye.
anything.
I think Hawkeye.
Really? Okay. I mean, all right.
Yeah.
That was great.
I'm trying to remember how the shows were being released. Miss Marvel, I think.
Yeah, whatever. You're getting away from the Fantastic Four, man. I mean,
I know.
I'm super excited to like talk to you because this is a blast. Usually this would take us 3 days to write all this stuff out to each other.
Yeah, I mean, but no, I mean, here's one thing I wish they would have shown. I felt like they didn't show a lot of Reed, and we didn't get to see him with his stretching powers. I know we're going to get it, but still, it's like they showed. I think they were heavy.
How many trailers do they do for a blockbuster movie?
Usually at least 3.
At least 3, right?
Yeah.
If it's 4, they're a little worried because it costs money to do those. But 3, not counting cheesers, but like full-on trailers. So you got to save something for the other 2, man.
I know.
Like,
well, I mean, Superman went all out with their trailer.
What did that trailer show you? Crypto's in it.
Crypto.
And then Superman being Superman.
It showed you Guy Gardner, Hawkwoman.
Yeah, but it doesn't tell anything to the narrative, though. Just showing you nonsense. It's a great trailer, but it's not a Superman. You don't have to explain who Superman is. Like, you don't have to explain who Green Lantern is. You know what I mean? You have to explain who the FF is, and they did it perfect because they have that.
You didn't have to explain the FF. There were already other movies out.
To regular people,
yeah.
My wife, who sees her husband dressed like this, doesn't really have an idea who the FF is. But she watches that trailer, and they open it up with Disney Science Magic Reveal. And where are you going? Into the living room of the Baxter Building, where they have supper. Dude, do you know how much storytelling is in those 3 seconds? Like, this is a family. They're famous because they're explaining how they live to this guy who's walking into their house that's called the Baxter Building. People don't call their houses a hell of a name, but it's not a building. Wow, There's some crazy shit going on here. And then they reveal the outside window that has all this cool 1950s Tomorrowland shit without the steampunk. And you're like, oh my God. Okay, this is pretty funny. Thank you, Troy. I went like this. And he's like, oh, Larry tore his hair out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, there's a lot of awesome storytelling in that. And you throw in their little teaser thing of the end of Rocketeer and the end of Armageddon, where the little kids are playing what the superheroes do, and just show the little kids looking at a bank of TVs. Like, who does that? Even places that sell TVs don't put them in the window anymore.
Yeah.
And they're little, like, cool, 1950s TVs, but obviously in the present day somehow. And then it's like, oh, there's the FF going up. You're like, my tongue came out like the mask.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like I've seen comments where people are like, oh, it doesn't look that much exciting. Like you said, you're not going to show everything in the first trailer, but people like to compare things, and so, that's why I compare it to Superman, because both of these movies are coming out in July.
I know, but that's like saying I'm comparing my steak and this corn dog because they're both things to eat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, people comparing, you should at least compare apples and oranges is great because they're both fruit, but that's not a really long conversation, right?
No.
You want to talk about the 9,000 flavors of oranges or apples or whatever.
Yeah.
And like comparing Superman to the FF, I don't get why you would even do that, other than they're coming out at the same time. I read you saying Superman's gonna crush it. I'm like, okay, maybe, but what's the value there? Like, if you get all the money, it doesn't matter, because Avengers got $8.8 billion, $1 million, almost $1 billion, and everybody thinks that movie sucked. Oh, so like,
which one?
The Avengers movie, not the Avengers, yeah. Justice League, the the Justice League.
Oh, Justice League. Yeah. No, I don't
Justice
think
League is
Justice League got $1 billion.
8.8 million. Are you going to not round up to $1 billion? Okay, if you're, it's
Batman v Superman did 900 million, and they still complain like, "Oh, it was a disappointment."
Okay, I'll change to that one if you want. That's insane. That movie was amazing. It did everything you wanted it to do. So, like, saying this one's going to make more money just means that people have shitty taste. That's all that means. Like, well, I mean, FF is doing like bedrock foundation for the next 25 movies we're going to argue about.
Well,
right?
I mean,
so that's a big deal to get right, and they did.
Oh yeah, no. So much has changed economically that people are now like, do I just wait? You know, it'll be out and streaming in like 5-6 months. So should I just save my $20?
Absolutely won't. Once interest starts dying down, they're going to up the theaters again. They're going to.
I hope so.
Because they have to. Because this is the one where they're going, hey, Randall and Larry and all your buddies who have been belly aching since fucking Black Widow came out. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Here's the Fantastic Four. And I doubt that Disney will put that on Disney Plus in 6 months. I doubt it. Because there's no value for that. Then you're just like every other movie.
I think they did it with Deadpool Wolverine.
I know, but who cares? That's the third. They made all their money instantly. They're not going to make all their money instantly on the FF for what you're saying. Because everybody's going to Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be like this the whole time. And then Superman's going to go away, and then this is going to go away, except then they put it back out in the theaters, and everybody goes, yeah, I got to see that in the big screen again. They won't do that for Superman. Superman will just be on TV.
We'll see.
Because it's Warner's. It's going to be on HBO. I don't know. It's not going to be on Max or whatever they're calling fucking HBO now. But
it'll be on
6
Max.
months. Yeah, not in 6 months, but then it's just another movie on Max.
Yeah.
On Disney, they're gonna make you wait, man, because Disney does that, like, oh, you can't buy this VCR thing anymore because it's in the vault, and then everybody goes, oh, I can't buy Sleeping Beauty, who cares? And then 5 years later, they're like, and they get all the money. That's Disney.
I wish they would go back to doing what they did with VHS, right, where you would release the movie, and you had to wait 1 whole year after theatrical release.
This right here is why that's not going to work. What you're thinking?
Yeah.
It's because Superman. If you like Superman, go watch a Superman movie. If you would never say that. Do you like FF? You would never tell anybody. Well, go watch an FF movie. They won't get why you like the FF because they've never hit it right. And this looks good. It might not be the cast you want,
right?
But dude, hey, how come the FF wasn't impacted by Thanos? Because Thanos wasn't in their dimension. Like, you don't even have that thought from that trailer because they tell you everything when the doors open. It's like, here you go, man. Like, I just love everything about that image. We're opening the doors for you to join us. You've heard everybody crying.
That is one of the things I'm happy to say is that, from the glimpse that we got of Galactus, like, we finally are going to get a theatrical, live action Galactus that is just, they nailed it.
I got a feeling everybody's going to love Eternals again now. Or again. Besides me and Walker. We loved it.
Well, I heard a rumor recently that because they still haven't brought up the Eternal that is like stuck in the ocean.
Yeah, it's in Captain America. That's
there you go. Yeah, they talked about it.
That's one of the plot points.
Yeah, because they said that he's
it's
made of
vibranium,
adamantium, I think.
Or adamantium, yeah.
Yeah. So, if that's the case, like, I'm wondering how they're going to do Wolverine. I mean, I feel like they're going to do I've heard rumors that after Secret Wars, it's going to be a soft reboot. So they're going to like change up continuity and retcon some stuff.
What do you mean soft reboot? Secret Wars is a fucking reboot to the face. Like, there's going to be people dead. There's going to be other actors playing main characters. It's Secret Wars. Why do that if you don't just dump everything out and put it back in a different way?
Did you watch the CW, like, Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Yeah, I loved it.
So, like, remember how Carol Danvers was on a separate Earth? And then after Crisis, like, her Earth basically merged with the Prime Earth. So, like,
yeah.
So that's what I think they might go that route. They might go
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, It's just going to be Hugh Jackman as Wolverine because he's playing in. Well, he's
I think they're
90.
going to get somebody else for Wolverine, but this will be his like
Oh,
swan
he's
song.
90. Until he's 90. Why would you ever let him go? That's why Section 31 exists. Because Michelle Yeoh won an Oscar for something. The hot dog thing. So, yeah, you have Hugh Jackman who loves playing Wolverine now. Just let him play old man Wolverine. And not even that. Just like an old Wolverine guy. Like that's
Well,
just
I mean,
Wolverine's old now. Okay.
They can pull a Kelvin universe, right? Where there's another Wolverine in the main MCU, and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine just is in that universe, who's just older.
Well, yeah, sure.
You know,
I mean,
like Leonard Nimoy Spock, and
at some point there's going to be another guy, of course. I just think as long as Hugh is walking around, it's not necessary to talk about recasting. Although I really like that Henry Cavill thing because that was a good joke.
Oh, dude, that was great. That was one of my favorite parts.
I love that they call him the Calverine too.
Yeah.
So, are you looking forward to anything in this Fantastic Four movie or not?
I mean, it's a Marvel film. Of course, I'm looking forward to it.
Who do you think John Malkovich is playing?
You know, I think he's Alicia Masters' uncle.
Yes. No, the Puppet Master.
Puppet Master, yeah.
That's who I think he's playing.
But somebody just recently posted. I follow a guy. His name's Brandon Davis. He's pretty cool. He's like with Phase Zero. He interviews the actors. He's super heavy into all the comic book stuff. He
this is
said
the other one I heard.
Yeah. Red Ghost. There you go. Thank you. Yeah.
That's just based on the hair, though, right?
I think so.
And then getting all them super monkeys. I think that's overloading it, but maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I know somebody said the Mole Man. I'm like, that's not the Mole Man.
No, I think what's his name? Cole Hauser, not Cole Hauser. The heavyset white guy. He does drama and comedy. I always
narrowing it down.
Paul Robert
Paul
Hauser.
Reiser.
Yeah, Paul something. He was in the Clint Eastwood movie.
Which Clint? Come on, man, narrow it down for the old man.
Richard Jewell.
Okay. Richard Jewell.
Yeah.
I remember that from the news because I'm old. Who's the actor?
The one I'm trying to talk about, the Paul Hauser, whatever his name is.
All right, I'll look it up. I'll look it up for you.
Yeah, I think he's going to be playing the Mole Man.
Okay, that's cool. Is there a Mole Man in this one?
In this movie?
Yeah.
I think there will be, but it might be like, it would be hilarious if they did what they did on The Incredibles, where they just save him to appear at the end, and then it cuts the credits. So like you don't even see them getting the fight. The Mole Man.
Paul Walter Hauser.
There you go, Walter. That's what I have trouble remembering. Yeah.
Is he related to Cole Hauser? That'd be amazing.
I don't think so, but he could be. Maybe they could be cousins.
Could be cousins.
It's like Jenny McCarthy and Melissa McCarthy.
He's got 2 children. That's what Wikipedia says.
Okay.
All right. Anyway,
he's on the Cobra Kai show, which I don't know if you've watched any of the Karate Kid stuff.
Yeah, I haven't. I was old when the Karate Kid movie came out.
Yeah.
And so I had Karate Kid opinions because I was reading Legion of Superheroes. And one of my buddies pointed out that at the end of the credits it says Karate Kid is trademark and copyrighted by DC Comics and used with permission. So I thought that was cool. They wanted to do a Karate Kid movie, and DC went, the chances of us making a Karate Kid movie from the Legion of Superheroes is so low that go ahead. And so
I wonder if DC still gets money. I wonder if they get money for every time they use the Karate Kid.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I do know how it works. There's a contract, which I haven't read, so I don't know what the contract says. But yeah, licensing is usually for their fee is usually for the, how long the project lasts, because you don't want to be able to not do Cobra Kai season 4 because you didn't clear the name back in the old days, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I'm sure that's just a piece of paper.
Even the Superman movie rights. Like Warner Brothers doesn't have the movie rights.
Yeah, I know. Michael Jackson owns the Beatles and all that, but
Yeah.
anyway, the FF.
Yes, FF man, FF.
I want to see. I love the Fantastic Car in Deadpool Wolverine. So the
Yes,
little
yes.
blocky one. So when I saw the cool little like Lincoln Futura thing with FF livery, I was like, oh man, that thing flies through the air.
Yeah.
And
The,
and
the,
I just loved their uniforms. I loved everything about it.
yeah, I have nothing against their uniforms. Like I said, looks wise, everything looks good.
I know you hate Pedro
Oh,
Pascal.
I don't hate him. He's just not. Let me tell you something. I was just thinking about it too, like on the drive here before we did the thing. I immediately was like thinking to myself, like, Pedro would have been a better Namor. You know, like him
No.
yearning and lusting over Sue Storm with his charm. People would have
But
been like, "Oh my
Namor's
god!"
ripped though. The guy
Huh?
they got the Namor is ripped. The guy they got for Namor is perfect. Pedro's the dad. He's been playing dads for the last 15 years, man.
Sure,
So
yeah.
who is more dad in the MCU than Reed Richards? And so like, and that's the thing with Vanessa Kirby.
Tom
Like,
Hanks,
here's this beautiful, yeah. Except Tom Hanks
cool.
is 65.
I know.
So and that's the thing with Vanessa Kirby. She's this like cool ice queen, like inapproachable mom who loves you and has everything perfect for you. That's perfect casting. You know what you're talking about. The guy from Stranger Things, okay, he'll be fine. And then the thing is perfect because he sounds like a Jewish guy from Brooklyn. So your casting thing always cracks me up because I mean I used to do this. I think that's why. Like I would have very, very specific, unwavering thing about casting beforehand. And then the
Yeah,
movie comes out and everybody's perfect. And even if somebody doesn't work, it kind of does. Like Dolph Lundgren Punisher in 1985. You
yeah,
watch that now and you go, that's wrong. But you watch that in 1985, you're like, if they put the skull on his vest, this is a Punisher movie,
yeah.
So
No, I mean, I never had a problem with Dolph as Punisher.
even the Captain America one with the rubber ears, and so the mask
Yeah,
is like, they inexplicably made the Red Skull Italian. Like a comics fan goes, "What the fuck is going on here?"
yeah,
Asbury Johnny and the Raspberry Jukes or whatever, the backup Springsteen band is doing the music for this. This is the dumbest shit ever. And
yeah,
Captain America's walking along the beach all set. Fuck you. Except it's Captain America. And there's a one scene where he's full on in the suit, running with his shield through the forest, and these guys on motorcycles are shooting at him, and it's like, you know what? Okay, I get it.
Oh yeah. Oh, the
But it's
the scenes
not
that they
First
had with the
Avenger.
shield. Those were my favorites in that movie. Was just like when he would throw that shield, and then just at that time period, I was like, that looks awesome.
Yeah,
You know.
it wasn't though. That movie sucked. And so that's why I don't have anything to say about casting and stuff now because I know that it's the best available person whose schedule is available for the money and the budget they can pay. And so that's a fucking top shelf cast for
I
what
think
Marvel's doing, I
I
think.
think Disney's got lots of money. I think they could have paid more and gotten other people. But yeah, I mean, like that's the thing is like they probably set themselves on a budget, make millions for figuring out stuff with actors and actresses that us normals will never understand until they are on screen. Yeah,
That's it right there. I mean, guys like us, just normal guys, talking about what casting directors have to do. I don't know. We might as well be talking about brain surgery, which is easy, right? You just crack the top of the head out, pull out whatever's problem, and put it sewed back up in your head.
yeah.
No, that's not how it works. Anyway,
So so we got Fantastic Four. What are you hoping to see in the Fantastic Four movie that we haven't seen in the trailer?
nothing. I trust everyone involved that they're going to, just based on this.
Yeah,
I'm this is going to be one of my top 5 Marvel movies already.
top 5.
It looks like John Byrne drew it,
Yeah.
so I'm good
Now I
right
gotta know.
there.
Now I got to know what your top 4 is.
We love my number one Marvel is Civil War. Well, it's First Avenger, really.
First,
No, it's
okay,
Civil War.
Joe John Civil War.
No, it's Civil War. It's
Civil
Civil
War.
War.
Okay.
Yeah, and then after that, I mean, it's all the ones you would imagine. Like nobody gets anything without the first Iron Man, and I love all that just for Clark Gregg saying, strategic headquarters international.
Call
But
sheet.
we're working on it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we're working on it. That. All of that was worth it for him just being the guy just trying to get like a meeting with Tony Stark while this amazing thing is happening. That of course the movie is perfect, and I had to listen to everybody go, "Oh, the trailer like shitty CG," and I'm like, "You don't think they're gonna fix that fucking walk away and shoot the tank thing? Like, it looks like a video scene cut game." Yeah, because that's what they have ready for the trailer. Like, you people and yes, I somewhere we wrote it down. Ant-Man's up there in top 5.
Okay.
When
So
Doctor Strange when Doctor Strange came out, me and my family did our 3 things, and I put Doctor Strange in the middle. That's where I got that. Everybody agrees on the top ones and the bottom ones. You'll have a fight if the Incredible Hulk or Thor 2 sucks more, but like you basically agree that it's at the bottom, right? So, and everybody basically agrees on the tops because they're great.
Yeah.
And so you'll have something like I fucking love Love and Thunder, and everybody's like, Thor's a pussy. And I'm like, well, all right, but like it's the 4th movie or whatever. Like they're just giving him something dopey to do. He talked fake Shakespeare. I'm good because the next one he's going to be fucking badass and destroy things. It's just, I don't know. It's like us reading comics, right? There's going to be a shitty comic every once in a while that, it's delivering your value. You're getting money out of entertainment and
it's content,
fun, but it's you don't like it and you just wait for the next one. But now that there's only 2, or I guess it's 2 movies a year, right?
No, because Thunderbolts is coming out this year. So we have
what else? It's this one, Cap, and then Thunderbolts. What else is
Thunderbolts? Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah.
The one you're most excited for. You're in your top 5.
I just assume it's been out already, right? Because it's so good. I mean, like I said, I want to see the Fantastic Car. I hope there's a loving shot of one of the spacesuits, like they took 8 minutes in Star Trek: The Motion Picture to go around the Enterprise, so everybody knows what the new Enterprise looks like. I understand that would just be a shot for me. Maybe there'll be something in the behind the scenes on the DVD or whatever.
I think
those suits look great. The little patch that says Richard Storm.
Yeah. The astronaut suits look awesome. They do.
And
look
so
awesome.
One of my buddies, I think it was Bill Field, was saying it's not the right color blue, but I like that it's the blue from the spacesuits, right? So you think that you just visually, for guys like us, you go, oh well, Reed, he made spacesuits for their trip, but it's unstable molecules, isn't it? Because the first ones have to be that light blue color. That's wrong. So later when they change the colors to the full on, John Byrne thing,
that was
it's
like
the he fixed the unstable molecules, right?
Yeah, well, that was like the what do you call it? The Tim Story. They were wearing those suits when they got hit by the radiation, and they're like, oh look, the molecules have transformed, so we can actually use our powers and abilities in these suits. So I could picture that. Trying to think, technically
Hector's showing his sexual preferences. Give me shiny shalabal and keep it inside, Hector.
Yeah, I mean, I
nipples on the bat suit.
I'm a fan of Norin Rad, and I'm just like, there's only been one movie where he was featured, and I thought they did a good job with him in that movie, and so to me, it's like, this should be, huh?
That was Doug Jones from Discovery, and
Doug Jones, and then voiced by Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, that was a good one. I don't care about the Silver Surfer though. I mean, I get it; it's cool, and but I'm just like, that's a little 270s for me.
270s.
It's do you know Jonathan Livingston Seagull, that book from the 70s? There was just this book that was everywhere, and it was some guy taking pictures of seagulls out in front of his house and wrote like the most 70s thing ever, like and it's just, that's where the Silver Surfer is in my brain. It's like, I'm surfing the spaceways, woe is me. I'm like, I don't care, like give me a nihilist or
I want to say, what was it, they refer to him, formerly known as the Justice League, the writer and artist. I think it's DeMatteis. I think it was DeMatteis, and I'm trying to remember the artist's name. I think they did a Defenders story, and they did it sort of like in the style of what they did with their Justice League, but they did it with Defenders. And one of my favorite like pieces, the jokes, is Silver Surfer's kind of off like wandering around the world while the Defenders are like together trying to fight, and like they're wondering like where the Silver Surfer's at.
Right, we knew where's our guy.
And he's at one point he's at a beach, and he's literally sitting down around a campfire of like other surfers. And they're all
that's a good use. Yeah, I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. No, I loved it. I loved it. I just thought that's hilarious. Like, you know, and the surfers are just like looking at him. And they're like, dude, you know, like talking to him.
Where'd
And
you get that board?
yeah,
I saw a great guy at San Diego one year dressed as a Silver Surfer, and you see the board first, right? In the crowd of people, there's like, oh, that's a guy dressed as a Silver Surfer. I'll kind of make my way over there, catch a look at him.
yeah.
And he had like a silvery gray leotard on the whole thing, but he had like silver shoes that he had painted. He
Yeah.
did the makeup on his face, and I was like, yeah, all right. That was wildly uncomfortable, but like that's cool.
He
Man,
went all
nice
in.
job,
Yeah.
man.
The dedication on it. Yeah.
So that's how I feel about Silver Surfer. But honestly, and this is you're gonna think less of me, but I will say this in public. I actually like Rom Space Knight a little better for your you know, flying through the cosmic angst.
I can top that.
Yeah.
I can top that. I've never read Rom Space Knight, so I don't know much about Rom.
Why would you, right? It's based on a toy from the 70s.
Even funnier. Even
There's
funnier.
no reason for that comic to be good.
I have 2 or 3 copies of the Rom Space Knight omnibus sitting in one of the boxes over here.
Dude, do you remember off the top of your head what your discount was on that? Like, because I mean, if you don't want to say, that's cool, but
Oh,
like,
no, I don't mind. I don't mind.
It's $100 book.
Yeah.
And I was like,
retailers.
I said to my kid, do not buy that for me. That's way too much money for that.
Retailers, like we get basically 50% off on Marvel.
Yeah, I figured that. So you get it through Penguin now, right?
Yeah. And then the best part is free shipping.
Yeah, that's really the only reason I asked, because I know what it would be based on your diamond discount for if I knew your store, right? Like, but I would know within 5 or 7 points.
I did,
but half off. That's cool to a retailer, but dude, $50 and you have 4 of them. That's kind of an outlay.
Yeah, well, you know, I kind of invested on the fact that Marvel's not great about keeping certain books in stock, so I have a feeling it's going to go out of print, and then when it goes out of print, that's when people are like, you know, oh man, this book's selling for $200 now.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's why I asked you that. We swapped from like full on fanboy to like
business
real fast. But I bought the Walt Simonson Thor one because, man, did I love that comic, and I really like Walt's art. And I think it was only like $60 at the time. So
nice.
So it's like equivalent to now, right? It's not an outrageous price for what you're getting. It's fucking this thick.
Yeah.
And my Thor one was impossible to read. So I was like, I'm not going to buy every ROM issue because that's going to be thousands of dollars. But
no,
no,
they're pretty affordable, man. Like you have maybe like
there's like 200 of them, right?
No, there's like I think 80.
Yeah, but there's lots of like first Frank Miller cover. I mean, that's John Carter.
I think you have like 3 or 4 key issues in that run.
Yeah.
And, you know, between the 3 or 4 issues, you're probably looking at, depending on the condition they're in, between $50 and $100.
So yeah, exactly. So to get that, it's $500, right?
No, because you can get the rest of the issues for probably like $1 each or $2.
That's what I mean. But there's like 100 of them. So even if they were all like, it's $100 just to get the floppies, roughly, right? So they're like, oh, you can buy this giant comic murder weapon thing. Like if I dropped that on my toe, I would have to have my leg removed.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
That thing's crazy. I don't know, whatever. Fantastic Four though.
Fantastic Four, yeah.
Not Rom Space Knight. This
will be the ongoing joke. Every time we have a conversation, we'll pause and then we'll just say Fantastic Four.
I just think it's funny that I'm the one that's trying to keep things on topic. That's all. I'm all over the place. I'm like the worst interviewer of all time.
Ah,
Anyway,
I'm
it's
enjoying it. I'm
it's an
enjoying
hour
it.
and 10, so I'm glad you're enjoying it. But let's wrap it up.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough for like super last minute. Like I just felt like talking about the FF uniforms to somebody who would give a shit, and I wouldn't have
Yeah,
to
yeah. I mean,
explain
like,
everything.
I knew right away you were super excited for it,
Well, so I
and
appreciate it. I appreciate you dropping what you're doing and talking
yeah, yeah,
Buddy
man.
Larry about it.
I mean, I love talking about the movies. I've been a little bit more pickier lately, and I've been picking things apart a little bit more. But that's only because, like, you know, I'm
It's
a fan of the
fun.
comics.
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
no, it's fun to pick stuff apart. I do this on Star Trek. I just don't on comics because comics is my love. Star Trek's
Oh,
my religion, and so that's a higher standard to me, right?
oh yeah,
Comics are my love, and I'm like, I will take all kinds of dumb shit because I know what it takes to put a comic together. And so somebody did all this work, and I just can't bring myself to go, eh, because I know what it happens. And so times that by a million for a movie, I'll
yeah,
be like, if I feel like I don't want that time back, that's the bar you have to go over for me. You're like, you're up here. And I'm like, no, man. Just like pick one cool thing and enjoy yourself.
yeah.
Like that music, like alone in the trailer, made me just want to go see Fantastic Four.
Can I say one thing about the music?
Yeah.
So, from a marketing standpoint, I would have been like, wait a minute, why wouldn't they just take the song "We Are Family," and then just like remix it and make that like part of the theme for Fantastic Four, or at least use that for the trailers, because that's another reason why I said earlier, like, they should push it to November, because
I couldn't believe that.
they
You know
should
when
push it
it's
to
coming out, right? July
July.
25th. July 25th. You know what
Yeah,
that is?
no.
That's the middle of the San Diego Comic-Con convention. So I
Ah,
guarantee you they're going to put that across the street from the convention center is the Padres stadium. So I
okay.
guarantee you that's going up on the big board, and they're going to have an event where you can watch the FF on there, and then it's for 60,000 people. So
Nice.
so put it. You can't do that in November. No one would give a shit. But
Well, the reason I say November is because it's school holidays, right? Kids are getting, like, Thanksgiving off,
yeah,
and they're spending time with their family,
I get it.
so it's like,
You're really on the nose about the family thing. Because
yeah, I mean, that's their Marvel.
if you came in and said the music needs a cool modern version of We Are Family, I would fire you on the spot. That's so on the nose. What is that? Doesn't tell you anything about the vibe because nobody knows that song anymore. I can't even believe you said it. I'm
Yeah,
like, that's a
it's a
crazy ass.
catchy song, man. It
I
works.
agree 100%. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
But it's not about being a family.
Let's like change the lyrics. Like we are Fantastic Four.
How about this? Why don't you just do something that's the vibe and like here's the introduction to the science magic that you're familiar with Disney. And by the way, this is a Disney movie. So, and Disney is a family oriented thing. And now here's a guy's talking about how they make a big uh, story point of saying that we try to eat here at 7 o'clock, no matter what's going on. We might be in the negative
The old
zone. We
family
might be
values.
punching something. Like, dude, all that is all done in 3 to 5 seconds. You
Yeah.
just that might be a perfect trailer, honestly. The only way that trailer gets better is if Vanessa Kirby came over to my house and said, "Hey, do you want to have some tea and some scones while we watch this? Because I think you're really going to enjoy this." But having my kid yell for me at 7 o'clock in the morning, "Daddy, put it on!" as soon as he wakes up, that was second best.
So did he enjoy the trailer?
He loved it.
He loved it.
He loved every single thing about it. He's like,
Does he think it's
"Give
going to
me
be
some."
better than the movie that you guys shared together, like that moment that he had, the
Well,
Josh
I'll
Trank?
ask him when we. I mean, dude, seriously, he woke up. I made him breakfast. We
Yeah,
watched it. I made
yeah,
him breakfast. He got his stuff and went to school. We didn't really even talk about it on the way because family stuff's going on.
yeah.
But I'll ask him that. But I got a feeling that's why he liked this one so much because he has this great memory of his dad in the Fantastic Four, and he's like my first college girlfriend made me a John Byrne FF shirt that I still have. It
Oh, that's awesome.
doesn't fit anymore because I'm a bigger guy, but it fits him. And so I have like 2 years ago, I found it. I was like, hey man, I think this might be the first cosplay thing somebody made me. I made stuff for myself, but this is somebody who knew how to work a sewing machine. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's cool. Can I try it on? I'm like, fuck yeah. And so he tried it
Oh,
on. I got all these funny pictures of him in it. But so he knows what the FF means. And then we shared this other thing. Actually, he tried it on because we have this fun Josh Trank story, right?
yeah.
And so that's a great question to ask him. He might even be watching. What time is it? 1:41. Nah, he's at lunch.
Yeah.
But
And then,
but yeah. Thank you. That's a good one.
yeah, absolutely. And
That'll
then
make me seem like a Karen dad. So right on.
you totally are, man. That's a great
Nah,
story.
I know.
I didn't know about that. Getting to take him to go fantastic, even though I really shitted on that one.
Well, it's not a great movie, man.
Yeah.
It's not a great Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
It seems like an alternate universe FF, which I'm down with. If you watch it, like,
Yeah.
this is FF What If? Like, what if
Yeah.
the FF kind of sucked? Well, there's tons of shit to love in that movie. Like, I could have used the whole Act 2 of Ben working for the military because they kind of like glossed over that.
I mean, and they had a good cast. Miles Teller, he was up and coming, and
it's not a good cast though. They're all teenagers. But I loved what they did with Reed, right? He's got all the like bungee cords that keep his shit together.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea, right? I like that a lot. And I love that they got drunk and that's how they have their powers. They got drunk and followed Dr. Doom into the negative zone or fucking.
Oh yeah.
Like that's bananas good. But like
I felt like they were trying to like. I felt like they were trying to, with that movie, they were trying to, because like, remember the Ultimate Universe was around with the comics.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the stuff that they were trying to adapt into films, they were inspired from like the Ultimate books, which is why we got.
That's why that didn't bother me. The only thing that bothered me is the whole like column of light at the end. It's like, come on, man, it's the FF. Have them fight a nihilist for half the movie.
Well, the most important for me is Dr. Doom, man. You got to get Dr. Doom right. And again, Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom just kills me, man.
For 2 movies, it's not going to be him the whole time. They're selling you the multiverse.
Yeah,
he's Dr. Doom for this scene. Oh, fuck you! And like, oh my God, Tony Stark from Tom Holland. What's up? I'm like, be God, peasant. Doom thinks you're a shithead. That's going to crush regular people. And
it will definitely crush regular people.
Guys like us are gonna go like, "Hey, fuck yeah!" Now the movie starts. Like people are gonna be crying; they won't see the next scene because there's tears in their eyes.
I just want the Black Spider-Man suit. I want to see
that's gonna happen.
Of course.
I just hope they stay away from the fact. I hope they show that's where Venom comes from instead of having Venom there when it happens and Tom Hardy explains to us. Don't do that.
No,
don't do that.
No.
Because how old were you when 252 came out? Were you buying comics then, or were you just a kid?
No. I didn't start buying comics until 97.
Oh, so that was way before. But dude, when Spider-Man 252 came out and it was the same art except the Spidey suit was black, that was fucking insane because you didn't see in Secret Wars yet how that happened.
Right. Because I think they released that like 3 months before Secret Wars.
I don't know. I think it was different for every comic, but there was a comic where the next month it was, hey, you got to go read Secret Wars, and they're like, fuck, 6 of them aren't out yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was a bananas time to be a comics fan. So by the time you get to the thing, and I think it was Secret Wars 8, where they revealed how he got the suit. Yeah, I think
he's like on the cover with the black suit.
I think Saga is right. I think it was a year. 12 issues. Yeah. But I mean, did they? Yeah, I'll have to. We'll talk or chat online later. But there was maybe they did the month in between. You only got Secret Wars 1, but there was a month where all the comics were like, Secret Wars, big thing. And then the next issue of everybody's book was like, whoa, that was amazing, wasn't it? And I think Chris is right. It's like, what do you mean? It's like we have another year until we find out like what happened. So it was weird reading regular books kind of not reference it as you were reading Secret Wars happen monthly.
Yeah.
As
Oh yeah. I
well.
can't remember. Did Crisis come out before Secret Wars?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's, I don't know. Yes. It's my feeling it did. I'm not sure if that is actually true.
Yeah.
Boy, I say stuff very positively. Yes. But now at least I put in, that is my feeling.
Yeah.
That is my memory of it. And I am old now, so. Anyway.
We're all gonna get there. We're all gonna get there.
All right. So on that note, Larry says the obvious. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you dropping what you're doing and chatting with your old pal there. I'm sure everybody loves this. I'm sure I'm going to hear why doesn't Randall like do this every day with you? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe he will.
I would love it. I would love it, man. I enjoy talking with you, and
thanks, man.
And like one day, we'll have even more people. We'll have a like a round table, like actually, I hope in the near future I make enough money that I'll fly to San Diego and we'll do like a live like together.
Oh,
like,
dude, you know what? If you get your money together and you get your San Diego stuff arranged, you won't even want to talk to me. You'll be like, I'll catch up with him later. There's so much cool shit. You would just lose your mind. You would walk in. You would walk in and just go.
You know what I mean? Did Marco ever tell you, like, he won an Eisner Award, right?
I do. The Eisner Award winning Marco Lopez.
And so here's the funny thing is he told me that when you win an Eisner Award, you're basically invited to San Diego Comic-Con for free for essentially the rest of your life.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and so basically
they don't do that for the nominated guys. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, they only do it for the winners.
The winners.
I think how many times Tom King has won, and he's just like, oh well, I'm already gonna get free San Diego Con anyways. But no, like me and Marco have been talking, and so the only challenge right now is affording a place to stay.
Yeah.
And because he gets
This is our 30th one.
Oh yeah, and but he gets 2 tickets, so it's he gets one for him and one to bring a guest. And so that's another thing. Also, is I hope one day I'll have the money and I'll be like, hey Marco, don't worry about coming up with the money for the place. I got the hotel.
Nice.
You just need the plane ticket, fly up here, bring the tickets, and then we'll both go in this.
Bring the tickets, Marco.
Yeah. I swear, if he showed up in San Diego with no ticket, huh?
If I was Marco, I'd be like, man, I only get 2, so and we're just gonna have to get married. Oh wait, I can't. I'm already married.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. No, you should try. You should. You will get a lot out of San Diego. It's a great show. Every time somebody says something shitty, they're wrong. It's this giant thing that shit happens, but the level of stuff they take care of behind the scenes that people don't know about is fantastic and insane. So
one of the reasons I want to go also is because one of my favorite writers, he usually attends every year. J. Michael Straczynski.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Larry Young at Booth.
Oh, and Larry Young, of course. I know you're going to be there. You know what I would love to do is when I go there, I'm going to be like, you know what, Larry, let me work the booth. You know what'll
happen? You'll be like, can I just put my bag here? And I'll be like, yeah, man, come out and this will be your place. So hang out. We got a little, cooler here with some beers and some waters and shit. Nice. We're all cool. And then I won't see you until Sunday when you pick up your bag.
No,
that's what'll happen. Because you'll find so much cool shit to do. Anyway.
No, I'm the type of person like, I would probably end up seeing you 2-3 times each day at the convention.
Yeah, that's cool. I imagine it would be like that. And you would offer to work the booth, and I'll be like, come hang out back here, but like there's nothing to do because we're just chatting to people,
Yeah. I lure people. I'm like, do you not know who Larry Young is?
Yeah, that would be cool.
Check out this comic book, man.
Except I don't care anymore. You do that about Walker. Go, hey, do you know who Walker Young is? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
I've reached the level I'm gonna reach because that's that. But I don't do political stuff, and somehow that's a little career limiting.
Yeah.
But I did what I wanted to do in comics. It's not like I was dying to write Omega the Unknown or whatever. Listen to some idiot who got B's in English
Well,
tell me
I
what
think
to do with my story.
I
No
think one of the
thanks.
coolest things about like what you did also was you did it at a time where like the average Joe couldn't do it. You know?
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for saying that. I
Yeah,
think
like
I think the average Joe could do it because I did, right? But there was a cool time that it was accessible to regular folks. You didn't have to have old school, um, publishing money, and
yeah,
the whole like crowdsourcing thing didn't exist yet.
yeah,
So there was a cool little time where regular Joes could sneak in. I mean, that's why I did it, right? Because Dave Sim was doing it,
yeah,
and the Wendy and Richard Pini were doing it. Like regular Joe, and I knew all those guys from working at a comic store myself, right?
yeah,
I worked at like 3 big deal comic stores over the years, and we would always have events and stuff. People would come in and stuff, and everybody was really cool. And I'm like, and literally everyone I talked to would say the same thing, like, well, there's nobody stopping you. Just do comics if you want to do comics. And I was
yeah.
like, and then the black and white explosion happened in the 80s, and I was just like, well, let's go.
That's kind of what happened with me becoming a retailer. I was working for Demolition Comics, and it was a combination of two things. The owner was kind of being a jerk one day, and he basically was
No. At a comic store?
and he just looked at me one day. He just got mad and just started complaining about stuff. And he looked at me and he's like, you know what? I dare you to open your own comic book store. You wouldn't last 3 months, And I was
Wow.
like, okay. And then I remember talking to Marco, and Marco was just like, why don't you just do it, man? Why don't you I mean, I don't know how to start up a business. He's like, so he got on Google. We did some research, some information, and he's just like, go with these guys, pay them what you need to pay them, and then they'll get all the stuff for you, and then boom, you have a business tax ID. Then you got to go diamond, fill out an application, meet all their requirements. So
never bitch at Marco again. He really helped you out. That's exactly what you need to do, because you would have sat around like, oh boy, I don't know how to fill out forms or whatever. Who does, right? I don't mean anything by it. I just mean it's a very specific thing to start a brick and mortar thing. Or even just shipping around or whatever. I love your buddy who goes, yeah, you wouldn't last 3 months. I would have literally said to his face, fuck you, you don't know what you're talking about, because you said I'm not gonna like know what to do in 3 months. My books that I ordered haven't shown up yet. Like, don't be an asshole to my face. That's what I would. Anyway.
Oh yeah,
that's why I have so many friends.
Yeah, no, I mean, I worked with that guy twice, and like the first time, it like this shit hit the fan to the point where I was like, you know what, I should quit before he fires me.
Yeah.
So, and then a couple years later,
it's more fun to make people fire you. It's
awesome. But the thing is, like, I knew that if he fired me, like, he would never rehire me ever again.
I got you. Yeah.
Even though I didn't really want to work with him again.
I was gonna say, who cares about that? You don't want to work with him. Go ahead. Never talk to me again. I don't care.
My buddy who I was friends with was still working with him, and he was going into the military.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me about interacting with people. It's horrible. Anyway, Fantastic Four. And
Fantastic Four.
Talking. We totally got to do this again, man. That was a blast.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, let me turn this off, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for